So I've been considering doing this Airbnb thing for a while, but the more I read and studied about it, the more I realized I'd be terrible at it. I have no business setting up a vacation rental. I have no idea how to decorate. But the allure of more cash flow just has me licking my lips. I just love the smell of money. Do I smell money? Then it dawned on me that I could furnish one of my existing rentals and rent it out to traveling nurses that are staying for 30 days or longer. But I still had to figure out this furnishing and decorating thing. So like any proper engineer, I ran an experiment. Where's my clipboard? All right, let's set up this head-to-head battle, amateur versus pro. I'm going to show you the results of those two different approaches, the pros and cons of each one, and then I'll share a spreadsheet of what we buy and where in the comments below. Okay, let's set the scene for this epic battle. We live in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we decided to focus on traveling nurses that stay for 30 days or longer, and we then furnished 3 of our existing rental units. For the pro, her assignment was to furnish each side of a duplex. So we agreed that we would budget $5,000 for each 2-1 apartment, and we're going to pay the decorator $2,000 for each side. So $10K in furnishing costs and $4,000 for her services to decorate the 2-1 units. And for the duplex, just to make things easier, we agreed to provide the appliances, the bed frames, the mattresses, linens, and TV, and a few of the kitchen items. But otherwise, the decorator was buying everything else, all the furniture, all the decorations, anything that made it really pop or look good, it was on her to take care of, including like bedside tables, chest of drawers, couches, pictures, anything decorative. As for us amateurs, we decorated a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and we did it all ourselves. As a newbie decorators, we had to do a lot of research to figure out what to buy, basically make an inventory of everything needed for a 3-bedroom house. It was completely empty and we had to put everything in there. Then we had to shop around online and go all over town to see where we could source everything and what all these things cost. So after giving the decorator the dimensions of the property, she has not seen it, along with pictures, she went and did her shopping, and it took her about 2 or 3 weeks to find everything. And then she told us that she was ready, and we set the day of decorating. And we totally didn't call it that, but we totally should have, because it just took her 1 day to decorate the entire place. Because she had a truck filled with furniture and decorations, and all in 1 day she just moved it in. She and 1 helper were able to completely furnish each 2-1 in 1 day. So those are 2 separate times, but in 1 day she decorated the entire 2-1, and then a few weeks later she decorated the other 2-1 completely. And what's amazing is she was able to absolutely just make the place sing. We walked in and it was just done. It was amazing. Whereas the 1 unit that we did all by ourselves, we fussed and we fiddled and we deliberated over every decision for months. And we took dozens of trips to the property. My wife shopped for hours and visited dozens of local stores to figure out where to source everything. Okay, so let's talk about pros and cons. So let's first start on the professional decorator and what the pros were. For 1, it was faster. 2, she basically had better taste, she had more experience. Probably the best thing of all is it frees up time and energy for us to do other things. So the time that she was spent doing that, we were able to focus on some other project that didn't involve something we weren't already good at. Now let's talk about the cons of having a professional decorator. Of course, it's more expensive. We had to pay her for her time and her expertise. We also lost some control over the aesthetic. So if you really want to control the way a place looks, it would just take a lot more work to make sure that the decorator was decorating it in your style. So another con is you may not know what the price is for the furniture and decorations and materials that are being purchased for you. And so you could, 1, go over your budget, or 2, just not get the quality that you're after. And so if you want to do this again, you don't really know what to budget for. That could be a potential limitation of hiring a professional. All right, now let's discuss the pros and cons of doing it yourself as an amateur. For 1, the pro is that you have all the control. You get to do it yourself. You get to learn a new skill, and this can be really valuable if you plan on doing more of these, because then you can kind of grow yourself into a professional level decorator by just doing the work yourself to learn the ability it takes to be good at getting things fixed up nicely. And then of course in that process you get to learn what things cost. And this takes a lot of time to do at first, but once you got better at it, I think that would become better because you would just know your sources and you wouldn't have to do as much research that we did on the first time. Okay, let's talk about the cons of decorating yourself. And the first one is that it just takes you a whole lot longer. More than likely, you're not going to be as good at this as a professional is already. And you're going to have to go do a lot of research and just a lot of trial and error that takes way more time than we expected. And also, it may take a while for you to find what your aesthetic is. This may not be something you've done before, or you may not have much insights. Like I sure didn't have any sort of insight as to what kind of look I was after. And it just took us a while to figure out what kind of feel that we wanted to provide in these houses. And while you're going through that process, it can be kind of a blow to your ego. Definitely my wife had that experience, that she thought this is something she could be pretty good at, but then she would try something and it just didn't work. And then this professional decorator just came through and filled an entire 2-1 in one day. And it was just like, oh man, I'm just not that good at this. So it probably shouldn't be a surprise, but a pro is going to be better at this than you are at first. Okay, so now for the grand reveal of what these two different properties looked like after we got through. And ultimately, I would say the end result of the look of the properties was very similar. They had the same sort of sense of hominess and being cozy and a safe place to be. But I'd say the professional decoration looked a little bit more polished. It had a few more items in it that kind of gave it that little bit of a pop of color here and there, but it was not enough to make a difference in what I think we could have earned in the property. That slightly higher touch is not necessarily what would make or break these properties. They were close enough that I'm not sure it'd make a difference. Now the big win I think for us was for hiring a professional is it was just how fast the process was done when you had somebody else take care of it for you. I was really impressed by how quickly she was able to do it. And so when you kind of analyze the situation, the cost of keeping a place vacant for another few months while we're trying to figure out cost us more or as much as we paid for a pro to do it like that. So the conclusion that we came to was that the decorator ultimately saved us money because she was so much faster than us. We didn't have this time of lost income while we were trying to figure out how to successfully and quickly and efficiently set up one of these units by ourselves. And so this allowed us to get the property 100% ready and rented much faster than if we were driving around town, checking prices, moving furniture, putting furniture together, etc. Now, obviously your results may vary and will depend a lot on your experience level, but I think it's good to know that you could have a property completely furnished and decorated within a few weeks for what I thought to be a very reasonable rate. You don't have to be someone who knows how to decorate in order to have a short-term or mid-term rental property. You can outsource it and have somebody else do it for you. But if you're into the decorating process or have limited available cash, then you could obviously do this yourself, even if you're not experienced in decorating, because we certainly weren't at all, and we were able to do it. It just took us longer than we thought it probably should have, but we were doing it for the first time. So just be aware that the first time you do this, it's going to take you a lot longer than you think. But to help you shortcut that process, we've provided a link to the spreadsheet that you can use to source everything down to the bed sheets and the silverware. And I would say that's worth a like and subscribe, wouldn't you say? And because I'm such a nice guy, I've also linked another video right here that I've carefully crafted just for your viewing pleasure.